Marcus was late every day and wouldn't tell anyone why. That Friday morning, his teacher humiliated him in front of everyone. "I've never seen such a lazy child. Your father must be ashamed." Marcus quietly pulled an envelope from his backpack. Inside was his father's last letter from Afghanistan. "Son, if I don't make it back, remember me every morning when the sun rises." The clock at Jefferson Elementary School showed 8:45. Marcus Thompson was late again. When the 10-year-old boy entered the classroom breathlessly, he was met with Mrs. Peterson's angry glare. "Marcus, late again?" Mrs. Peterson's voice echoed throughout the classroom. "This is the 4th time this week." Marcus lowered his head. There was mud on his shoes, exhaustion in his eyes. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Peterson. Sorry isn't enough anymore." The teacher slammed her desk. The other 24 students watched silently. Same excuse every day. "Do you even know what time it is?" Marcus didn't answer. How could he explain? That he woke up at 6 every morning to go to Arlington National Cemetery? That he left flowers at his father's grave and talked to him? That he wanted to be there when the sun rose because that's what his father asked in his last letter? Mrs. Peterson stood up. In her 28-year teaching career, she had never seen such an irresponsible student. "Come to the front of the class, Marcus." Marcus walked slowly forward. His hands were trembling, but no one noticed. "Explain to your classmates." Mrs. Peterson continued harshly. "Why are you always late? Doesn't your mother wake you up? Where's your father? Doesn't he care at all?" At that moment, Marcus's eyes filled with tears. My dad. Yes, your father. I'm calling him today. We'll see what he has to say about this." Peterson reached for the phone. "I've never seen such a lazy child. Your father must be ashamed." Some students in the class were uncomfortable. Sarah, Marcus's friend, wanted to say something, but couldn't find the courage. Everyone wondered why Marcus's father never came to school, but no one had dared to ask. Marcus's hands went to his backpack. Inside was the envelope he carried every day, his father's last letter before he died. The edges were worn now because Marcus read it every night before sleeping. "What are you doing?" Mrs. Peterson's voice grew even harsher. "What are you taking out of your bag?" Marcus slowly pulled out the envelope. It had a military postal stamp. Date: the 15th of March, 2024. Just 2 days before his father died. "This is..." Marcus's voice was barely audible. "From my dad." Mrs. Peterson took the envelope. "A letter from your father? What does this have to do with anything?" Marcus looked up at his teacher. Tears were streaming down his face now. "My dad was killed in action 6 months ago in Afghanistan." The classroom fell completely silent. Mrs. Peterson's face turned white. The envelope in her hand began to tremble. What did you say?" Marcus continued. He couldn't stop now. "Captain James Thompson, 82nd Airborne Division. On the 21st of March, 2024, during a mission in Kabul, a bomb. He and 3 other soldiers." Sarah had started crying. The other students stared in shock. Mrs. Peterson opened the envelope. The letter inside was handwritten, on military paper in blue ink. "Dear son Marcus, as I write this letter to you, the sun is rising in Kabul. It's very dangerous here, but looking at your and Mom's photo gives me strength. Son, if I don't make it back, I ask only one thing from you. Remember me every morning when the sun rises. As long as the sun rises, I'll be with you. I'll be the light on your path. Do well in school. Take care of your mother. And remember, you're my hero. I'm just protecting our country, but you're protecting our future. I love you so much. I'm always with you. Dad." Mrs. Peterson's hands were shaking uncontrollably. As she read the letter, her tears dropped onto the paper. Marcus spoke quietly. "I go to his grave every morning. I want to be there when the sun rises, because that's what he wanted. That's why I'm late." There wasn't a single student in the class who wasn't crying. Mrs. Peterson fell to her knees. Marcus, I didn't know. My God, what have I done? At that moment, the door opened. Principal Wilson entered with a uniformed soldier beside him. Colonel Rachel Martinez, Gold Star Family Coordinator from the Pentagon. Mrs. Peterson. Principal Wilson's voice was very serious. Colonel Martinez would like to speak with you about Marcus's situation. Colonel Martinez turned to Marcus and gave him a military salute, saluting the 10-year-old boy as she would salute a soldier. Marcus Thompson, the colonel said, your father, Captain James Thompson, made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. He was a hero, and you are his legacy. Colonel Martinez turned to the class. With your permission, I'd like to tell Captain Thompson's story. Mrs. Peterson was still sitting on the floor, unable to find the strength to stand. The principal helped her up. Captain James Thompson, the colonel continued, served his country for 15 years, 3 tours in Iraq, 4 in Afghanistan. He earned the Bronze Star, Purple Heart, and Distinguished Service Cross. Marcus's eyes were shining. Hearing people talk about his father gave him strength. On the 21st of March, the colonel's voice became emotional. Captain Thompson and his team were protecting a school in Kabul. The Taliban was planning to bomb it. There were 200 children inside. The students in the class held their breath. Do you know what Captain Thompson did when the car bomb approached the school? The colonel looked at Marcus. He threw himself in front of the vehicle. He gave his team time to evacuate the children. 200 children were saved, but Captain Thompson and 3 brave soldiers. Sarah was sobbing. So were the other children. Mrs. Peterson stood up. Her knees were shaking. Marcus, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't tell anyone about my dad. Marcus spoke quietly. Because I didn't want to cry. He would want me to be strong. Colonel Martinez took out a box from her bag. Inside was a medal. Marcus, this is your father's Silver Star. It was awarded posthumously. The Pentagon wanted it given to you when you were older, but I think now is the right time. Marcus took the medal. He felt the cold metal in his fingers, tangible proof of his father's heroism. Mrs. Peterson knelt in front of Marcus. Marcus, can you forgive me? I said terrible things. Your father, you. Marcus hugged his teacher. It's okay, Mrs. Peterson. You didn't know. Colonel Martinez continued, Captain Thompson's story isn't just about heroism. He was a father, a husband, a human being. And all he asked from his son in his last letter was to remember him when the sun rises. Principal Wilson stepped forward. Marcus, from now on, you can come to school whenever you want. If you want to visit your father's grave, no one will scold you for being late. Part 4. Pentagon's Intervention. 500 words. Colonel Martinez pulled out her phone. Principal Wilson, I need you to speak with Deputy Secretary General William Hayes from the Pentagon. The phone was put on speaker. General Hayes's powerful voice filled the classroom. Is Marcus Thompson there? Yes, sir. Marcus stood at attention. His father had taught him. Son, I fought alongside your father in Iraq. He was the bravest soldier I've ever known. And you visiting his grave every morning. That's the greatest display of respect and love I've ever seen. Mrs. Peterson was crying, silently, in shame. The general continued. I'm notifying Jefferson Elementary School administration. Marcus Thompson is a Gold Star family member. He will be shown all necessary respect and support. He can come to school at any time he chooses each morning. This is a Pentagon order. Principal Wilson said, Understood, General. The necessary arrangements will be made immediately. The general's voice softened. Marcus, son, no one can replace your father. But know that every member of the 82nd Airborne is behind you. You're part of our family. After the phone call ended, Colonel Martinez pulled out a file. Mrs. Peterson, this is Marcus's file. He's been receiving psychological support for the past 6 months. He has nightmares every day. He's had trouble speaking since his father's funeral. And you. I'm a monster. Mrs. Peterson was sobbing. I called him lazy. Said his father would be ashamed. Marcus took his teacher's hand. Don't be sad, Mrs. Peterson. My dad wouldn't be angry at anyone. He would forgive everyone. Colonel Martinez stood up. I want to say something to the entire class. Like Marcus's father, 7,000 of our soldiers have lost their lives in the past 20 years. They left behind 25,000 children like Marcus. These are Gold Star children. They are our responsibility. The children in the class looked at Marcus. He was no longer just the kid who was always late. He was a hero's son. Tommy stood up. Marcus, can I come with you to the cemetery from now on? I want to thank your dad. Me too, said Sarah. One by one, the entire class stood up. Colonel Martinez smiled. This is what Captain Thompson would have wanted. Unity, togetherness, brotherhood. The next Monday morning, at 6 a.m., Arlington National Cemetery. Marcus was at his father's grave as usual. But this time he wasn't alone. Mrs. Peterson was beside him, holding flowers. Marcus, the teacher spoke quietly, I hope I'm not disturbing you. No, Mrs. Peterson. My dad loved having guests. The sun was slowly rising. The gravestone read, Captain James Thompson, 1982 to 2024. Beloved husband, father, hero. As long as the sun rises. Mrs. Peterson placed the flowers on the grave. Captain Thompson, I want to apologize to your son, and to you. I promise I won't leave him alone. Marcus smiled. For the first time in 6 months, he truly smiled. A few minutes later, others arrived. Sarah and her mother, Tommy and his father, Principal Wilson. One by one, two by two, the entire class. By 7 a.m., 25 people had gathered around Captain Thompson's grave. Colonel Martinez had also come, in her dress uniform. Marcus, we have a surprise for you. 12 soldiers appeared behind her, from the 82nd Airborne Division, his father's unit. Sergeant Michael Roberts stepped forward. Marcus, your father saved my life. In Iraq in 2018. We called him Guardian because he protected everyone. Each soldier spoke in turn. Each had a story about Captain Thompson. Finally, they all gave a military salute together. Marcus saluted too, with his small hand. From that moment on, every Monday morning was different. Marcus no longer went to the cemetery alone. Sometimes, Mrs. Peterson, sometimes classmates, sometimes soldiers from the 82nd Airborne accompanied him. Everything changed at school, too. A small American flag was placed next to Marcus's desk. His father's photo was hung on the wall, in uniform, smiling. Mrs. Peterson would ask every morning before starting class, Marcus, how was your dad today? And Marcus would tell them what they talked about at the cemetery, how the sun rose, how he felt his father's spirit. A month later, a special ceremony was held at the school. General Hayes came personally from the Pentagon. He pinned Captain Thompson's Distinguished Service Cross on Marcus. Son, the general said, your father would be proud of you. You're keeping his legacy alive. Marcus looked at the medal, then at the sky. The sun was shining. I know, he said quietly. He's with me every morning, as long as the sun rises. Mrs. Peterson's eyes had filled again, but this time not with shame, with pride. From that day on, a tradition began at Jefferson Elementary. Every morning, as the sun rose, a minute of silence at the flagpole. For Marcus, for his father, and for all Gold Star families. The end.